Art said he's on his way.
Yes. But it's 7 o'clock right now. How far?
But we have a quorum anyway.
Can we
But-
start without him and have him join us after?
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
I've never had that happen before.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so happy he's
Yeah,
coming.
Because on his way, he could show up at 5 past,
Okay, so we can start.
20 past. No Jim either, huh?
That's your boy over there. I know. Hi, nice to see you. I wish your wife was here.
Art said he's on his way.
Okay, and we can start, and we're good.
Oh,
Ah,
which one are you recusing yourself
Monroe,
from?
Monroe Street.
Monroe Street.
And you'll have Art here, so you'll have a quorum for that.
Thank God. Okay, phew.
Okey-dokey.
Caused a conundrum. All right. All right. Welcome every person to the Pembroke Conservation Commission meeting of October 3rd, 2024. The time is now 7:01 p.m., but we'll ignore that. Let's see. Please note that this meeting is being made available to the public through a live video and audio broadcast on the Comcast Government Access Channel and is being recorded for broadcast at future dates. Comments made in open session will be recorded. All right. So, we have our business here.
So you see in your package, you've got that request for Memorial
Monroe
Tree
Street.
at the Heron Run Park.
Wait a second.
There is no Monroe Street on it.
Yeah, there is.
Talking where?
740 feet.
Oh, I'm sorry, 146 Monroe Street.
Oh,
Yep.
it's okay. I was
Yep,
like, wait a
got
second.
it.
I was like, wait, what?
Got
Okay.
it.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. We have everything
740,
we need.
okay.
Okay. Sorry, Andy, you were saying we look at our packet.
You've got the letter in your packet, the
Yes.
Memorial Tree request, so
Yes.
that's kind of first up.
Okay, great.
I was hoping someone would be here for that.
Okay.
You can start, though. Do you think some folks may be confused about these two meetings? No?
No.
There's no one upstairs who thinks they should be going?
Absolutely not. It's
Okay.
strictly what she said.
Okay, great.
Okay, so please, by all means, Andy, fill us in on this proposal or request.
Well, it's in the letter. Everything that you need to know
Yep.
is in that.
Okay, so
They're
this,
proposing a memorial tree.
Yeah.
They're talking about some of the another tree on the property that may need to be removed. And
Okay.
a new tree planted in memory of someone who appreciated using the herring run.
what kind of tree? Let's see, where's the letter? Do you have the letter?
Who is paying for the removal of the first tree?
Don't know.
Looking for.
In other words, it's not covered in the
Oh,
letter.
here we are. Okay,
I have to see if it's covered in the letter.
so. Okay. I guess I could read it out loud. Shall we read it out loud?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so this is a letter dated September 2nd, 2024. This is from Josh Hassenfuss from 739 Old Plymouth Road in Halifax, Mass. It says, "Dear members of the Pembroke Conservation Commission, thank you for your dedication to the wetland protection and open space management in the town of Pembroke. My wife's grandfather, Robert Carlson, recently passed away. He was a longtime Pembroke resident and was a frequent visitor to Herring Run Park. He very much enjoyed visiting the park, and our family would love to plant a tree in his honor. During a recent visit to the park, I noticed a declining ash tree near the parking area, photo attached. This tree will be in need of removal soon, with significant canopy dieback present. We would like to take advantage of the fall planting time by installing a 2-inch sweet gum, which is, the genus and species is Liquidambar, I can't even read it, Styrac iflua. Do you know what
No,
it's Styrac iflua. Yeah,
just a
okay.
scientific-
Pronunciation, I don't know what.
Sweet gum tree.
All right, or a tulip tree, and I'll spare you reading the genus
Yeah.
and species of that, to replace the failing ash. Both trees are well-performing native trees that will thrive in the park. I have indicated below a proposed location for the tree. Additionally, we would request permission to install a granite marker in commemoration of Robert. This marker will not exceed 18 inches by 24 inches in size and will be consistent with the other memorial tree markers in this area of the park. While our family does not have the resources to remove the ash, we are seeking permission from the Commission to install a tree for the town. As a Massachusetts certified arborist and Massachusetts certified landscape professional, I will ensure that the tree is installed to industry standards. The installation will be completed entirely with hand tools. Additionally, our family will complete the routine watering needs for the first 2 growing seasons for establishment. We feel that this would be an excellent memorial to Robert and would also restore a canopy tree in the park before the ash is removed. Given the close proximity to the utility lines, roadway, and the parking area, the ash removal will require a bucket truck or crane, so there is no risk to planting in the proposed location before the ash is removed. We would be happy to attend a meeting to discuss this proposal with the commission if preferred. During this time, we could also discuss any other park improvement needs that our family may be able to complete this fall during the tree planting. Thank you for your consideration, Josh Hassenfuss. And he has the proper certifications, and of his name. Okay, you see that? So they took a picture of the tree when everything was in full foliage, so that's an accurate depiction of what's going on with that. Are there any stipulations associated with someone volunteering as a professional to do something like this on town land?
No, we've
should.
we've done this before.
Okay, I was just checking.
I was gonna say, generally speaking, if they are a professional,
Yeah,
their insurance, their, licensure
Yeah.
would be very similar to what we would collect in the building department.
okay,
I don't know that to plant a very small tree,
yeah,
a young tree,
yeah,
he needs to operate heavy machinery or have specific
No.
licenses.
No.
So I don't know that you need to invoke that. I think
Okay.
anyone can plant a tree.
How about the removal of a tree that's a large size?
We would
Yeah.
have to request that
Well,
properly through.
That would have to be done by the town evidently.
Okay, I know it's in honor of somebody and I want to honor them, I just want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence in discussing this.
The Bob wants to speak.
Yes, I'm
Ask
sorry.
some of our experts of the park, working in art,
Gentlemen. Oh, yeah.
about the tree that they're talking about needs to be taken down and all. You're
Yeah, I know the
very
tree.
familiar with the trees down there. I'd like to have your words on this proposal.
I think it's a good spot for a tree. It's something like a tulip tree needs a lot of space. There's no wires that are gonna interfere with it that I know of. Because that's the biggest thing, you don't plant where wires are gonna interfere with a tree, because that's, just don't do that. Removing that tree and putting another one there, that tree has stood its time. It hasn't blown over with one side with a brook. So I would say that proves the ground will hold a large tree. There's enough earth there, even eroded on one side, that tree is still standing. So I think it'd be a great replacement tree. A tulip tree would be really one of the biggest trees in this part of the country that ever grew.
I think that's the wrong location for a tree under the wires that's gonna grow.
There are wires there?
And,
Yeah, I can see them.
That's what I said, the wires.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
on that
that-
side
Wires
of the
dictate,
road.
that's not a good
They've already
spot for a
trimmed
tree.
it.
There's another tree that's gonna need to be taken down. There's another ash tree
Oh, and
in the
where's
park,
this one is
in the
over.
foreground,
That's the
close to
country.
the road,
Oh, this is
on the
isn't
inside of the
this
stream
isn't
by the
conservation. This is
road
the park,
that-
the Veterans Park.
was
No.
Yeah. Yes, it
defoliated
is.
all summer, so it's dead. And I was gonna fill out a
There's the Veterans Park.
administrative
This is the
review
Veterans Park. That's on
and
the
have
corner there.
DPW look at it.
The tree I'm talking about is this one.
What if-
So, but whether we want to put plaques and trees in the park that one of these days could be sooner than later, we were at benches and everything else,
This is in the
handicap
memorial
access.
I was
we-
gonna say, you would have a plan first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before you add it. I don't know what this family is proposing.
Well,
Yeah,
it's the
well-
memorial park. They're not talking about the Herring Brook, what we're thinking about.
Which
This
you don't have, okay, well.
this is the park.
That's next to Herring Run.
Would you like to
Right,
see it,
it's next
Sabrina?
to, it's not Herring
I'm
Run
sorry,
Park.
do you guys mind
Right.
if I come up?
Please.
Okay,
By all
so
means.
That is part of it.
Right, I got you. But
Go
it's-
ahead.
Sabrina Chilcott?
the Kiwanis with the Key Club have a license for use on the pump house. So you have the parking lot to the right is not available
Exactly.
for this family or anyone else to plant or put anything. Those benches and trees are for veterans, thank you. So I was thinking that you guys are discussing everything to the back and to the left, because to the right is not available.
That's what I was
Okay.
discussing, I was discussing a different location.
Thank you. Sorry about that, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, no, good, because
No, that's
it
very
needs
helpful.
clarification, because it's definitely not the Harriman Park. There is a dead tree on the park by the flagpole, the dead ash. The top's gone, it's,
I just
that would
brought,
be
I
a-
already brought that up.
that would be a better location if it was gonna happen.
Yeah, for a plaque too, they wanna put on.
Yeah, the plaques,
That plaque's a little on the large side.
yeah, they don't allow that at the
And-
park for other people. We've said no about other people putting plaques there already. We've already set a precedent. If we break that precedent, then we're opening up the door for anybody else to come into. So maybe a tree with some sort of
A plaque on it,
well, not
It's like a little one.
like a
Yeah,
badge or
not-
something, like
not
a,
18,
yeah,
So what it
Sign.
sounds like, it sounds
18 by
like,
24.
yeah, that's a major memorial.
if I may, it sounds like we need to have additional discussion with the people who would like to do this.
Yeah.
Maybe we can set up a site visit, Andy, to discuss it further and just kind of give them some good parameters on how that can be handled. And then we can discuss it at the next meeting and hopefully they'll be present to firm it up. Would that
And
be good?
maybe, in the future, instead of plaques, we could have a website dedicated to these trees that become memorial trees. So you don't need a plaque per se at the location. There would be a list of trees that would be kept for the future references. I think that maybe is a
Standard
way
code, they
to,
take a picture of it and they'll bring it to the website.
you know, to go in that direction, electronic marker, not an actual granite marker.
Okay, oh, like a map, that'd be cool. Okay.
We're talking about plaques. I mean, I have seen plaques that are no more than less than a district plate. you know,
Exactly.
8 or 10 inch round plaque in the ground. I don't think we need any huge plaque,
No.
but just something that would indicate that it's, you know,
Yeah, like the ones on the bench,
Okay.
the
Yeah, just a
memorial
plaque,
benches,
yeah.
they're about that big.
Okay. All right, well, so we'll discuss it more further. We have to
Yeah.
move on to our hearings
Okay.
now. So it is, let's see here. My goodness. All right, so it is now 7:12. I would like to open the ANRAD for 27 Corporate Drive, SE 56-1112, which is a continuation.
Okay, so Brad Holmes had given us written notification that he would like to continue.
Okay,
It's not ready yet.
all right.
And since we just had a RDA come into the office today, and RDAs need to be dealt with in a timely manner, I suggest that you have a meeting on October 17th, that's 2 weeks from now.
Okay, we need a motion.
And he's available then.
Motion to continue till the 17th of November,
October,
October. Okay.
2
I'll second
weeks.
that.
2 weeks from today, sir.
Second,
All in favor?
I,
All right, so that is next. All right,
So if we did the site visit before that, we could do this in 2 weeks. Because the last one in 2 weeks too, at the same meeting.
oh, yeah.
So we
yeah.
can get the folks for the memorial tree back to us in 2 weeks, it's better than a month.
The ground might not be frozen yet.
that's not gonna be for a
Okay,
while,
that's great.
hopefully.
Okay, it's a little early, we can keep pushing down the track, right, or do we wanna talk
Nope,
about other
you can go.
stuff? Okay, so, it is now 7:13, and I would like to open up the hearing for a notice of intent at 0 Oldham Street, SE 56-1114, which is also a continuation, and here we go,
Did you say 0?
sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm also to continue that article until the next meeting.
We have a letter from Fisheries and Wildlife.
Okay? You want me?
But it's a hearing, so we can't discuss it until the next here, so,
Why
Well, no,
can't
you
we discuss it?
just reopened the hearing.
okay,
You're okay.
sorry, I got mixed up.
You're all right.
I'm
There's no-
sorry, Gina, please.
There's no one else coming for the hearing. And
Okay,
we've already taken public comment.
okay, but
And
they
it's
didn't,
at your discretion as the chair as to whether you want to take any more public comment, but you've already accepted public comment.
okay.
I don't think we need any more public comment.
But you've got, in your package, you've got several pieces of information
Yeah.
on this.
Madam Chair, some of these new information such that we haven't had a chance to really read it and digest it.
Anybody else have any thoughts on the matter?
At the last meeting, you decided to table the discussion because there was a question as to whether a stamped engineered plan was required. In your package, there are a couple of pieces of information on that.
Yeah.
Those pieces of information say that the requirement for a stamped engineered plan is at the discretion of the Conservation Commission. You can require it if you'd like to. If you don't feel the project requires a stamped license plan, you can decide to do it without it. So it's at the discretion of the board.
And there is a guidance for Conservation Commission's implementation of general law, sections 131, chapter 131, sections 80A, and it's a summary of the law. I found it, and an NOI is sufficient. As you said, we don't need anything stamped, and it explains everything in here. It can be done in an NOI with conservation's discretion and also an order of conditions as necessary. And
And the chair and the vice chair had a chance to visit the site. So you may want to consider that in your deliberations.
Yep, so the water levels were,
yeah, but, yeah, the water level, I found that too.
And that was the other question, was...
The water level is in
Anticipated
a
water level.
Massachusetts Division of Fisheries and Wildlife. The use of water flow devices in addressing flooding problems caused by beavers in Massachusetts. And it says, the depth of the lodge or burrow entrance may be used to gauge this level, which is what I had said, thinking common sense, but here it is in writing. And this is from the Division of Fisheries and Wildlife. And the guidance one is from the Department of Environmental Protection. So we got all the agencies in question covered. So it's just a plain NOI at
Good job, Jim.
Conservation's
Good
discretion.
job getting this stuff.
Absolutely, good timing, but also,
Bob,
timing is good.
Bob, you had mentioned in the last meeting that you were requesting a stamped drawing, and you were also requesting that a maintenance plan be provided, given the fact that when the water levels are kind of like changing out, that maybe it needs to be cleaned out seasonally, or at least intermittently. So do you have any thoughts on that? Have you had an opportunity to take a look at the information that was provided? Do you feel comfortable, or?
Well, I haven't taken a look at any information, I haven't seen any information other than these things here. I don't see a maintenance plan, I haven't seen a maintenance plan or how they plan to maintain it. That's not really our job. Our job to know how they maintain it or anything else. Our job is to do it. My only concerns are about whether the NOI without a stamp is, if we put a mooring in the pond or a dock in the pond, anything we put in the pond that is bottom supported and all, requires a notice of intent, it requires a stamped drawing. We're putting in a device that is bottom supported and falls under the general category of these things. And if the board decides that they don't need the engineered drawings for a device of this sort, we're cutting a very fine line
Yeah.
between what we require devices for and what we don't. And that's up to the board to make the decision of where they're cutting that line.
I think Bob's talking about the obvious gray areas which surround things like this,
Yeah.
where you have a change in law and practice, that you could do things, but there's always the test cases, is what he's bringing up, like, does it work, doesn't it work, and who decides if it works? They do have simple devices and engineers already done, and other things we could look at. I think you're talking liability issues down the road, right? This is really what you're looking at, right? Like, because if we do this and we don't have an engineer, then something happens and they decide to throw money at it to sue, then it lands where? I think that's what Bob's saying, where does it land then?
Who's suing?
We don't know where it lands then.
In this
Don't say
scenario,
somebody
who's
does
suing?
down the road.
Right, it's town land.
So then where does it land? This, it's not saying they are, I'm saying, say somebody does, then where does that responsibility land and how does that work? I think that's what Bob's saying.
I guess one of my concerns is under MS4 regulations, we're not supposed to displace any sort of water onto other properties. So if
Yeah.
we did have some sort of significant rain event or something, I mean, you know, obviously the way that it is now, we would have to have a significant rain event for flooding to happen onto other properties, but
Well, like North Carolina.
You know,
An act of God.
significant is an
10 to 14
understatement.
feet, according to Lisa, I think.
yeah, so 10 to
Right.
14 feet in the
Yeah,
current
like
capacity.
an act of God, like I
And
said.
the way that it exists now, that existing condition, it would have to have a significant high raise in water level in order for any impacts to be rendered. So,
Any damages occur.
exactly, so, I mean, this is a tough call because water, the flow of water is being altered.
It's not being altered.
I mean,
It's not a dredge.
no,
It's
it's
not
not
a
a dredge.
drain.
It's not changing
That's
its
why you
direction.
can't find it.
I mean, I guess
Because
it
it's
keeps the
separate.
level the same.
The level, it keeps the level
The same.
the same.
So,
It's not, you
That's why the
can't,
log.
alter is changing the level.
yeah,
Like if somebody rips the dam out, you can't do that. It has to be gradual, you have to have a permit. But that's why I had to dig, I spent
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 hours looking for this stuff.
and it's common practice,
And
this
yes.
device is common practice that's used by
Absolutely.
Mass Wildlife,
Yep.
and it's something that's tested and something that they've found to be a viable solution in situations such as
Works.
this, and
It works.
it's been applied in potentially hundreds of cases across the state.
Probably thousands of cases.
Yeah,
Literally
I don't
thousands of
wanna,
cases.
yeah, like, we don't know the exact number, but it's enough for them to have written an entire book about it.
And to take some
So-
action to give conservation some mitigating ability here.
Right, so
We
do we
also-
actually need a notice of intent then?
Oh, I know we need a notice of intent.
Okay,
We already have one,
yeah,
We don't,
so,
Sabrina says no.
No, Sabrina's kidding, I'm sorry.
yeah.
did you say
I'm
no?
sorry.
That was the initial finding, was that in emergency situations, the Board of Health would take over with trapping and other means of getting the beavers out of there. There's no emergency certification of this. If there's no emergency certification and you need a water flow device to manage the leveling, then an NOI is required
So,
through the Conservation Commission.
Which sounds
Yes,
good.
and we have a letter from Steve Wright of DFW, and he specifies that it's a good idea, basically, and he walked the property in 2022, because I was with him, and he said this, and he put it in writing, there's no possibility of flooding anywhere in that area, and we already knew this, but it's been substantiated by somebody in position to make a determination. So the device keeps the water at a proper level. So it's not a drain. A
That's
drain
It's a relief valve.
you can't do. But a device like that should keep the water level constant
Exactly, just
And-
like the beavers did.
Yeah,
Same
and also, the water level should be, it's gonna have to stay about where it is, because it's at the top of the bogs anyway. So
That's as
where
low
it
as it
is,
should be.
yeah, where it is fine. But
That was
other than
Madam
that,
Chair, I'd like-
there is no necessity for a stamped drawing, because it doesn't fall under 131, section 40.
Falls under, I believe it falls under another section, but my concern, and I'm directing it to you now, is how are you going to keep the vise that you're putting in that has a mesh of 4 inches now, clear of weed and leaf and everything else? What is the maintenance procedure
Yeah.
to keep this open so it can do
Its
what
job.
it is intended to do? The
Well-
idea is great, it can work in certain places. We have a very difficult area for it to be working in, and without some sort of continual cleaning of the screen, I feel that before long, it'll be to the point where there's nothing going through it because it's clogged up.
Is
Now,
that
I
the-
may be
There
wrong,
isn't-
you people are down there all the time, you know how quick a set of stop boards and all can get jammed up.
Yeah, but that's at the termination point, that's where the water is squeezed and you have a flow. This
It's
is.
still, it's just,
this is-
the water is going to flow to where the water's flowing,
Right, so
and it's gonna
you
flow
got
through
four-
this device.
Can we not condition maintenance into
Even
it
if
though?
it.
So if we approved it,
Even if
couldn't we
it floods
condition it?
though, in this situation, we have a bog dike, which is the foundation for the Beaver's Dam, which sets the height. And so it is like a weep, the whole thing will weep over at once, because it's just, they got it level. The bog level, the road is level with the water. So it isn't like there's a big dam, it's a man-made dam, basically, the beavers just put a little end on it and plugged up a few water control devices.
So,
What's the
This-
problem with an engineer stamping the plan if he believes it's gonna work?
Aside from it not being required, I don't know.
I have a question, Bob. Which, do you recall which section you believe it falls under for, in terms of being regulated? Just.
Yeah, well, if you take the handbook out, we can find it quick, but,
I don't think it is. I think it's at the discretion of the board. All projects are different. So you don't set a precedent if you don't require it, because all
Right.
projects are different. So it's at the discretion of the board as to whether the board feels that that is an absolute necessity or it can be waived.
That is a consistent statement that's put throughout all of the materials that Gino has compiled.
Do we have any other case where a similar job has been done? You see what the Conservation Commission
yeah,
did with that?
Topsfield,
What did they do?
So
they
did
did the same-
Topsfield install
the
a
same
safety
thing
sticker?
that we're trying to do with the beavers. Same, everything the same. The 4-inch mesh, you don't have branches, trees, leaves. We got water coming in a pipe. It's all the way across the other side. By the time any of that gets to it, it's filtered out. It's either round or square. The beaver aren't gonna build up around it. Even if they do, when the water gets to the top, it's gonna flow in. And it's not gonna happen.
Well, I think what Bob's saying, it needs maintenance, and I think we do have to look at maintenance, and obviously, would it be possible for a member to take that on, and be responsible?
Well, you can condition a maintenance plan, and for the first the recommendation from Bestway was every 6 months there'd be maintenance. But if you feel that it should be more frequent, or at least find out whether it should be more frequent, you can have inspections. So as part of the order of conditions, you may want to condition inspections over the first 6 months, every 30 days, and then set up your maintenance schedule based on what you're finding.
Bob, what kind of
That's
maintenance
right,
schedule
like-
would you feel comfortable with?
What?
What kind of maintenance schedule would you feel comfortable with?
3 months.
Well, first of all, I'd like to know how they're gonna
First,
maintain it,
I got it.
how they're gonna maintain it. If it's sitting out there, you can't go out there, well, I'm not the engineer and I shouldn't even get into that,
Well-
that part of it, but the bottom of that area is very mucky. And as soon as anyone goes
You're
out
not-
around that and touches that mucky area on the bottom,
Well-
they're gonna stir up more than what they can take off of the screen in itself, because it's all leaf dead materials. It's my opinion that the maintenance part of it is we're gonna have somebody go out on a boat on it, or something else to
Well,
do.
that-
This is something that needs to be
Again,
taken care of.
order of conditions.
Exactly.
Right, but we don't have
Who's
that
gonna
in front
do
of
it?
us.
The guy who installed, the company that installed it.
Well, you can require the maintenance plan be presented before the install.
There you go.
We could also underwrite a contingency of performance, could we not?
Sure.
So.
And are we
if you
able
think
to
it's
say
effective,
who's
then
gonna
great.
pay
If
for the
it's not, then we've
maintenance?
gotta take it out.
I was gonna say, the people who have to perform that maintenance are right here in this
Right,
enclave, so it's not hard to find accountability.
right.
Exactly.
I would find that very hard to believe that after 2 years, there are too many members that are gonna go down in February and go out in a boat of some sort and pull the stuff off the screen. Right now, it's fine.
You don't do it in February. It doesn't, it won't be clogged in
Maybe
February.
like May or June if it's,
There's no water
I
flowing.
would highly disagree with you, Mr. I think some of my experience with that type of stuff says that February is no different than any other time if the water is running. If someone can show you how you're gonna keep it clean, it's a great idea and works fine, but
We have a heavy rain season ahead. I mean, it's like hurricane season.
How are you gonna
so-
clog up 4-inch openings? And the beaver aren't gonna do it.
Well, I mean, the only way that we can find out whether or not it's effective or not is to test it or
6
to find a
months.
case study.
What, so he goes out there 3 months, then on the 6th month to see if he has to, how often he has to do it, and then in a year. So 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months.
And then obviously if something occurs,
And
if an
then,
emergency occurs, then there's an action taken.
and he probably won't have to do it for maybe a year. Just
George
to,
agreement. You've not had experience with bog-type water running through the system. It's continually taking grasses, trees, twigs and trees off the sides of the banks and bringing it down, and they're all gonna clog right at this device, because this is where the flow of water in that area is directing it to.
Bob, when would you say the peak flow takes place, and during rain events, how many inches of rain would you say would be enough to displace that debris?
Continuous. The
Okay.
water is continuous, there's a continuous flow down through that area. So anytime it rains, you're getting more, but there's always some coming.
So would it be unreasonable to approve this project with the condition that we perform inspections after each significant rain event of our definition,
Until we learn what's going on.
to
What
inspect
happened.
it each time, and then if we find that it fails within, say, before it starts really freezing, within a period of maybe a couple months, then we take it out? We obviously don't want to leave it over winter if it's not effective, because then by spring it'll be a whole deluge.
what, take the pipe out?
Yes. Yeah, like take it out. If it's not effective and it becomes a problem.
I think the real advantage here is if you keep the water level at the right level, which has been, a stick in the dike has been there for 2 years. And what happens here is when it gets to a certain height, the whole dam becomes a release. It's a flat, level dam. And So it would rise up, even if it clogged, and slowly overtop the whole dam. Because it's not just an earthen dam, it's root bound, it's totally full of trees. And it's been holding the water back, and outside of muskrats destroying it, there's nothing gonna move that. So it would overtop equally,
Okay,
instead of ripping out one spot, which is important. Because if it did clog, then you'd worry about a backup and a rip out and downstream, which I don't think will happen here.
okay.
The dam's been there for a long
Can I
time.
speak?
Yeah,
It's okay.
Is it not your observation that once we top a dike and start some water running over the dike, that it tends to take the dike and groove the dike
yeah,
rather than continue to top in other places? And the grooving of the dike could cause a siltation or something downstream.
well, it can.
That's all
I think in
want
this
to know.
particular case, though, we actually have beavers in the right, but about 99% of the time, beavers in the wrong place. We happen to have beavers in the right place for once. It's working very good for water quality coming out the other end. And there's gonna be more and more water put through the system as we go on. So, I think it'll handle it myself, I really do. But again, trial and error is what we're doing here.
Would you guys like go out just occasionally anyway, and if it was clogged up, you'd come back and say something, or unclog it?
Well, you'd have to, again, have the right to do so without getting yelled at that, what gives you the right by somebody? So there would have to be somebody given the right to do things, and this is what we're trying to work out here. A plan of action that'll work, that's maintainable, and a solution.
Is there a perceived Sabrina, would you mind coming up? Okay. Oh, okay, so we're talking about people in boats now. Is there a perceived liability for somebody who's a representative of the town, representative of the commission, whatever, to take a boat?
Yes,
Okay.
there is a perceived liability, there's a legitimate liability there.
So would we be relying heavily or solely on the DPW to reconcile any sort of issues that would arise from something such as this?
Yes.
So would they be using heavy machinery to reconcile
No.
anything,
No,
or would they be
they would
using
not, no,
hand?
they have an
Okay.
array of tools, almost
Okay.
all of them
Rowboat.
land-bound.
Yeah.
They do also have a boat, but
Okay.
I mean, the
All right.
point being
And-
that they have many other
But those
alternatives.
insurances are in place, and
And-
that's
And
like,
their employees
the
are on
same
the payroll
activity
with
takes-
insurance and,
The same activity takes place with the fisheries. They're in boats, they're in the water, they're doing that type of debris removal.
okay.
So it's not the only people doing it in town, is all I'm pointing out.
yes,
Okay.
but we have to pay a very serious premium and a separate rider in our insurance for that group. So
Okay, that's what I'm
maybe we
asking. I
don't need
don't-
more, maybe we
No,
just
no,
stick with the
that's-
employees. That's a very smart point, thank
You
you.
know? No, thank you, because you would have to have a rider or change the
Absolutely.
policy.
Sure.
You're right.
And there is, again, 24-hour accountability. Now, granted, Saturdays I'll see you. I will clearly need to be owning this for the office of the select board, who are not sponsoring, but are in favor of this solution over trapping or any other solution. So
Absolutely.
we will be very available, ready, and prepared to maintain the device once it's in.
I have a question. Would it be, I know it's town land,
Mhm.
would it be unreasonable to post some kind of a no trespassing sign there? So
Yes,
that
it would be
people
appropriate. Yep,
who are wanting to, trespass,
sure, sure.
and that they don't?
No, it's a good
Perhaps.
point. I'll make a note, you'll get those signs.
Who has the authority to make inspections down at that site? Because we've had a number of instances where we've observed foot traffic at weird times and.
Sure. At the moment, on the payroll, again, I don't want to keep deferring to staff versus volunteers because it's not
Yes.
fair. You
Yes.
guys are incredibly dedicated and you're all above and beyond what we could ask for a board that comes in, reads applications, makes decisions. But there is staff that we can task with that. And we
Okay.
can, at any given point in time, I would be looking to Andy's office. I would be looking to enforcement. I would be
Okay.
looking to George. I would be
Okay.
looking to Public Works
Okay.
to partner with the tools. Those are the people that I would turn to when this came up. And
Okay.
Andy would know before I did, because I'm sure you would tell him before you told me.
Okay,
It's happened in other cases.
Yes, sir.
okay.
Very good.
Okay.
All right, sounds good, thank you.
Now, in Rick's observation, because he's been in the town for quite a while, it's been 55 years since we've had beavers
Yeah,
in
they were
town.
taken out, that's right.
We got a perfect spot for them. The select board's on board with it. The fisheries and wildlife have basically approved it. We got a solution. I don't see the problem why we can't just vote on doing it and give the beavers a chance.
What kind of conditions would we like to incorporate into an issued
So,
order of
now,
conditions?
order of conditions, we talked about some. Bob had, we maintenance schedule to make everybody happy, I think 3 months after installation, then 6 months
With pictures?
with pictures.
Yeah.
Good idea. And, the installers do it all the time, so that would be their
Pictures
bailiwick.
before.
And after that, every 6 months.
Wait, so every 3 months for the first year, you're saying?
No,
And
no,
then
no.
every 6 months after that? I'm sorry.
3 months after installation,
Okay,
6 months.
just to see if there's any issues. Then 3 more months, the next, so that would be from
6 months.
0 to 3 months, and
At
then
6
at the
months.
6th month, and then at the 12th month.
okay,
And
gotcha.
who is responsible for this?
You are.
The installer,
And we need the pictures to be before and after if it's the installer providing it.
So the installer would be the inspector, and then that would, if there is an issue, would come back to us, we would delegate through the town what would happen as far as the removal of the debris.
well, the installer.
Right.
It-
For the
yeah.
inspections, right?
It's like you got a air conditioning
Right.
installer. He comes and inspects your air conditioning in your house or whatnot, or your generator. Same thing,
Okay, so then
once a year, but, you know.
We can work with that.
I don't know, okay.
Right, that's
okay.
what I just said that,
I was
it's
like-
all,
The
it's all
first one or
doable.
two, just to make sure that we're tracking
It's all
and tracking
doable.
appropriately.
Okay, because if
And
the
then
select board
once you guys
approves
have
it.
seen the first couple, we can just go into a regular maintenance plan every 6 months with our locals. But in the
With
beginning, we can absolutely ask the contractor.
I have a-
to get on that agreement.
I have
So for the first two inspections, the
sorry.
3 month and the 6 month,
Yep,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. With before and after pictures. And 6 month.
may I speak?
I'm so sorry, yes.
I have another concern on neighbors or somebody destroying the dam and making the water lower. It's against the law. It's destructive, and I think it should be addressed on the order of conditions that the DEP police will be notified. And I already spoke with one, and he offered to go door to door to neighbors to find out if anyone in the neighborhood breached the dam. So I would like that put
Why
into
don't, I was gonna say.
the order of
Madam Chair,
conditions,
if
no,
you
no tampering.
right.
And
Okay,
you,
we don't want to be presumptuous, but
Quote the language, we'll post a sign that says it.
With a
no
fine.
We'll do that.
trespassing.
Well, we're gonna do those tomorrow, like,
Okay.
we'll get on those right away.
Yep.
But to get more specific with, the environmental police will be notified,
Yep,
get me some language, we'll order a sign, we'll get that posted,
okay,
facing wherever we think
Perfect.
there
Do you
could
want
be
to be
an
the
issue.
language man?
I don't think, yeah, I
I'll
would
try.
refrain from putting it in the order of conditions. It's better addressed with a sign, I think.
We can condition it to just say with appropriate signage to protect the property,
That's fine.
right? I mean, okay. All right, so we've got,
to educate the public.
we want to, I'm not saying that anybody's doing anything, but our conditions would be, if we approve this, for the installer to provide inspections at the 3 month and 6 month mark with before and after photos, and the town is going to be able to facilitate that on their end in terms of how they've gone through the contracting process. And then thereafter, the town will provide inspections with pictures of before and after, and this will be facilitated by town staff such as perhaps the DPW or Andy or Mr. George Berry, the building inspector. A representative from the town will give it to us and report it to Andy afterwards so that we have an update on that. And then the last part would be for us to have signs posted to protect the property. So do we have any motions?
Well, before we do, the pictures, where to be sent and whatnot.
Oh,
To
good.
The
Andy.
office, the conservation office.
Yeah, to the conservation office. Yeah.
And, anybody, any,
That sounds right.
We could have them distributed at our meetings. Would that be unreasonable for you to provide us with at least the digital version of those pictures so we can look at it? Maybe a couple copies in the office, so if anybody needs them digitally, then they'd be able to access them. Okay, great. Do we have a motion?
motion to close?
All right, do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so I have to read the thing.
No, you gotta
Oh,
Do the next motion then.
do the next
Motion,
Do we have another motion?
motion, yes, motion for conditions as specified during this meeting. And if there's any boilerplate stuff
So this
that,
is a motion to approve.
The installation of a water control device.
motion to approve
With the conditions discussed.
with the conditions discussed regarding the beaver deceiver at 0 Oldham Street.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Ask for negative, please.
Oh, you want to recuse, you want to
I want to be recorded as not voting on it.
Okay. respect you, of course. Bob is with abstaining. Okay. So for the next hearing, I actually have to recuse myself from it. So Mr. Fellini is going to take over and I'm going to step out of this room and enjoy. Oh, I didn't read the part.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I
Yep.
didn't read the part.
Anybody?
that's right.
I'm sorry, okay, sorry. With respects to 0 Oldham Street, the decision that we just made with the conditions that were outlined, please note that any person aggrieved by this decision has the right of appeal within 10 business days. Please contact our office or DEP if you need assistance. The commission shall have 21 calendar days beginning tomorrow to issue an order of conditions. Okay, now I will recuse myself and step down, thank you.
Okay, see you in a minute.
I'm going outside.
Okay, next up is 146 Monroe Street. That's a request for determination of applicability regarding, hold on one second. Where is my sheet? Here it is. Please state your name and
George Gray,
address.
146 Monroe Street.
Okay. You may
Yeah, so we are seeking a potential addition to our existing dwelling. We've been at that house for over 10 years. We have done some due diligence to make sure that what we are seeking to do is within the 50-foot buffer zone in a basically a previously disturbed area with existing landscaping, outside of any wetland buffer, within the existing frame, footprint of the house and existing disturbed areas, so.
So in your package, you've got the plot plan with the erosion control outlined, the
Yeah,
limit of work, and stockpiling areas.
what size is that addition?
Approximately 500 to 550 square
Wow.
feet. Oh,
Length and width?
I'd say it's about,
Because you
Yeah, I
didn't put, it's not on the site plan.
yeah. It is, I can get that information, but I think it's approximately,
No, just
20,
roughly.
yeah, I'd say about 20 by 24 feet.
20 by,
Well, that's not 20 by
14.
24. Maybe 20 by 14.
by 14, okay.
I just said, just throwing that number out there unless it's right. Just to scale.
This is 14 feet.
And you're using silt socks.
Feet
What size silt socks did you plan on?
is,
On the detail, it says 6-inch typical. There's a detail on the plan. Up at the upper left.
That's not it.
So this is
Blah, 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 blah.
it doesn't say, it just doesn't even tell us what that code means.
You know, you got the septic system on one side that's at 100, and your house is pretty much the same footprint, and it's previously disturbed. So
Correct.
there's nothing
Not
there,
20 by
right?
35.
What's in that, grass?
Grass, and we have two burning bushes and some other hedges.
The addition.
Yeah,
looks
I'm sorry.
more like 20.
So, yeah, so
35.
currently-
30 feet.
Gino?
What?
So yeah, grass and, you know, a couple of like maple trees and
Yeah,
some
so-
hedges.
This is 30 feet.
So your whole house is in the buffer zone.
Right,
You're putting an addition on in the buffer zone where your house is, in an area that has no vegetation, wetlands vegetation. It's a yard.
right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a tight, I mean, we have you can see, we have a pretty tight, where the septic system is, where the existing house is, where our buffer zones are. We have a tight window of where we could
Yeah.
actually do some stuff, and that, we're trying to maximize that space.
And I see you added your staging area, and I don't see a problem with that either. And,
There's no trees being taken down?
There's a possibility that a couple trees,
I don't see any
some-
trees on this plan at all.
Yeah, there's some potential for some, we have a couple large, you know, some bushes that would be taken down that are in that, kind of where the proposed staging area is. And then there is some potential for some, larger trees in our backyard that would go, with
So
the
this isn't a mowed area?
well,
It's not a mowed lawn?
a boat lawn.
No, this is not a mowed lawn.
This is a
Not
mo-
mowed lawn. This is it's like, like a wild setting. It's got trees, brush.
we have an area that is a mowed lawn, everything, and then,
This area that we're talking about.
yeah,
is it-
it's not really, no, it's
Okay,
there's some
so-
bushes there and.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So any trees that you cut down, you have a policy that you
Can you-
would place them somewhere else?
Yeah, we have basically a whole,
can
basically,
you take a look at this drawing and just mark where the trees are?
Yeah, well,
That
We assume it
would
looks
be
like
an
it's
issue. It wouldn't be over the septic.
no, we have, we have a little bit of bushes here.
Bushes.
Yeah, we have like a couple burning bush slash
Oh.
like red maples, I think.
Yeah,
right
they're
there.
invasive anyway.
Right.
So,
And then we have, and then all of this back behind the buffer zone, you know, within the 50-foot buffer, this is all wetland vegetation and, you know. just,
all right, but you're not
forest.
touching anything
We're
over
not
here.
getting over there.
So the burning bushes and,
Yeah, there's a couple little, there's like a willow there and
a maple tree.
Yeah.
That's no big deal. I don't see any problems. Anybody
This is
have
a,
anything?
is this a cellar? Is it a flat? What is
it's
it?
it's a two-story colonial, on top of a full basement. And then, but the addition would just be on a slab.
On a slab?
Yeah, we wouldn't be extending the basement or anything like that.
Okay,
So it's a 4-foot, 5-foot hole for a sub-foundation, a 4-foot frost wall, and then an infill. That's what it actually is.
Yeah, we have to
Right.
build up a little bit on the backside there. We're on a hill.
I just have one question.
What's your water table? Below your
Bob,
foundation?
do you have any comments?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I
I'm
mean,
just looking at this.
You can see it without glasses, God
The
bless you.
silt sock is 6 inch, is that what I'm reading here?
Yeah, it says 6-inch typical.
I
Or
thought 10
approved
inch was our typical, but I don't care. He's on a flat surface.
You said you're removing a willow tree, is that?
there's a, yeah, I'm not an arborist, but yeah, there's a, and I'm sorry, I had brought a couple pictures of trees, but, there's a few, there's the main area there that there's some bushes, and there's either like a maple or a burning bush kind of in that spot of exactly where the addition would go. Back here in the corner, there is a couple other, there's like, I think like a willow and then like a kind of a cherry blossom tree. So, I mean, I definitely would like to, we'll definitely replicate those in some other spots if necessary.
So you got other trees too?
Yeah, but I don't think those would go. I'm just saying there are a couple other trees in that
It
area.
would be really good to have a picture of what's actually there.
Was that part of the landscaping done when you built the house?
That was already existing.
That was already done.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're not absolutely removing them, it's just. a technical-
Right. Yeah, what's
I
in
think a
the,
picture
yeah.
would be what we need to see. It just doesn't have enough information to really know what we're talking about. It's already in the wetland area. They're just not saying no to it, saying, we're looking at, looks like a lawn.
Oh. Where is this willow tree that's not?
I'm sorry, I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know if it's a willow or, there's definitely like a cherry blossom type tree, but it is outside of the erosion zone. It's on the other, so it's really not in the work zone.
I wanna know.
It wouldn't be removed.
It won't be removed.
Right.
That's
yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because what you're saying, the burning bush are invasive.
Yep.
And it's questionable if the red maple is, and, that's a landscape tree
Right.
anyway, probably.
Yeah, everything else is outside of this work area. So I'm talking about the real trees that are in question, those bushes, the red maple, and that burning bush. It's basically right where that proposed, right in that where that proposed staging area would be, is where those bushes would be, kind of between there and where the actual addition is.
Okay. Anybody have any other
So
questions?
you're saying that's between Rebecca, no, it's between the street and house.
Closer to where I would say closer to where it's like, to be honest, right where
We'll go
it
to
says,
Satellite view. Just look at it.
yeah, kind
What
of
are we hiding?
where it says proposed addition control,
That's my question.
and kind of on that arrow, like around that arrow there,
Satellite
sir.
view.
I would say like that, we're talking about like the cherry blossom and that area, kind of in this area here, which is not really.
They're all inside the height,
Do you think the photographs we can
the
see?
siltation line,
Color
right?
photographs.
Right in
We
that,
do
right
take
in
the
that
photographs,
general
you can
area,
see, I'll
sir.
let people do without. Just an exception.
Okay. Anybody see any issues, Bob?
Other than the size of the
The
silt
silt
fence,
sock?
whether you're gonna narrow it down to 6 inches, I think.
You
10
think it-
inches is what we've used all along, but
Yeah, well,
That's
wait,
entirely up
it
to
said,
you.
it said 6 inches?
It
That's what it
says,
says on the detail. If you want to require 10 inches, you can require
It
10.
says, silt barrier 6 inches typical or approved equal.
Oh, up here. Stakes, but, so we can change it to 10.
Up to you.
We usually use 12, don't we?
10 or 12, I mean, depending on the area. I mean, this area is fairly flat, so
Yeah. So
10 was fine,
10 would be
but
fine, so,
if that was mowed along, then you might even get away with 6, but if it's in an area of roughage, then might need a little more.
Good catch, Bob. So we make those 10. And
And can we ask for a picture of the property?
What?
Can we ask for a picture, a color picture of the property now, see what, where those trees are exactly?
well,
Yeah, we usually have people with photographs, do we do anything?
well, it would be nice if we have
Well, we
photos.
make an
That'd be-
exception, we do make an exception that other people wanna follow.
I think we.
I'd be happy to send it, I'd be happy to send an email to.
Close.
I'll be
I
happy-
second that.
Okay, I'll be happy to send Andrew some photos of, the trees in question.
Vote on the motion to close, please. Vote on the motion to close, please.
Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
And you want to make the
what do
motion?
we got there, RDA?
The RDA, yeah.
Move we build according to the prints somewhat, and with the, anything we've added today.
And you'd like to make a -3 determination?
-3 determination, changing the hair line to, from 6 to,
10-inch.
Yep,
You need a second, and you need to vote.
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
thanks.
Okay,
So
Where
the chair
is she?
can return.
oh, she'll come in because you just left. And will come in. Where is she? I'm not organized.
Next is the restoration plan for 84 Hazelwood. Came in just today. So, yeah.
Where's restoration?
So if you notice on your action items, I put the email from John Zimmer there for you, just for reference on this, since you did just get it today and didn't really have a lot of time to look at it. So,
would be a proper motion to continue it to our next hearing.
yeah, there's no public hearing open, so you can do whatever the pleasure of the board is. But let me just read that for you, or you can read it yourself, just so you know what the circumstances are, if you want to move it.
It seemed pretty thorough.
All right, so according to John Zimmer, please find attached the restoration plan for the buffer encroachment at 84 Hazelwood. I'm hoping that the commission will consider this at the hearing tonight. We're hoping to be able to get the work done by the end of the month if possible. Understanding the lateness of the submittal, if the commission needs additional time to review and approve at the November hearing, we would likely just push the restoration to the spring, since we'd likely be outside the growing season at that point. Plan is consistent with others I've submitted in the past, which the commission has approved. Also, the chair and the vice chair were at the site. You did a site visit there. Keep in mind, we do have another meeting coming up on October 17th. All right, but they did want to get this started by the end of the month to hit this growing season. If not, they'll push it off to the spring. So it's whatever you're comfortable with.
I personally didn't have an opportunity to read the entire thing, so I don't necessarily feel comfortable on my end, but that doesn't mean that someone else didn't read it and feels comfortable.
I read it.
Yeah, and they performed well in the past too, like they said, they really have.
We had a really good discussion on
I don't
site.
see any problem with it. He'll do the right thing. We already know that. And,
Can we put anything that says if anyone discovers anything, there's an issue?
I can't hear you.
Can we put anything that says if one of us discovers that there's a problem, we can have a vote on it on the 17th?
Well, he's got oversight, and there's a 2-year review for growth.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be overseeing the whole project, so I don't see a problem with it. It's pretty much
If there is a problem, we have
boilerplate.
our rights to do, we have the law. If there is something that comes up, then it's jurisdictional and it's either applicable or not.
Yeah,
Yeah, John's very thorough, and
Oh,
I read it, everything's in
He's
it.
good.
great.
Everything necessary is in it.
And
But
anything that comes up, he
I don't know if Bob's
notifies us.
comfortable with it or not, but I
I
am.
haven't read it, but if Mr. Zimmer feels that it's
I'd like,
correct, and if the chair and vice chair have been out and looked at it, the only thing that could be a problem is the type of plants being done, and Mr. Zimmer knows what plants are there. So if there is not a problem with the plant species and all the rest of it, I see no problem with it.
No,
And
yeah,
the sooner it gets
species,
it going, the sooner it gets done.
there's a species list included.
I did want to add one to that list, creeping ground blackberry. It's one that is really essential in bedding all the leaves
Well-
down and collecting debris and creating an environment that in 1 year covers everything and feeds all the, like tortoises, one of their main foods.
John Zim is basing it on what's there.
Right.
To replicate.
Right. And
They have
I'll
blackberry.
guarantee you this,
They have blackberry there.
Yeah.
they have creeping
I
blackberry.
move it close.
Second.
They do have it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
They- I
I
missed
move
it.
that we
They do have it.
approve the restoration plan with the addition of brick.
It's already on there, I missed it. They actually have it on there. My bad, yeah, creeping blackberry.
As written.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Good job, guys. Good job, Mr.
That was my
Zimmer.
last time I talked.
No, did you finish?
Yeah, that's it.
Yep,
Oh,
that was all. Okay, so then we're moving on to the request for extension of the order of conditions for 306 Oldham Street Camp, Pembroke Yurt Village Project, SE 56-1038.
there's nobody here. It's gonna be a quick one.
Now, this was an older one, right, Gino?
10:38. Yes, I remember the yurts,
Yeah, exactly.
and they just need an extension. So I make a motion to give 306 Oldham Street, Camp Pembroke, Yurt Village, SE number 056-1038. I grant them an extension.
Do I have a second?
I
Second,
move that I amended it, an extension for 3 years.
Yes, it's a 3-year extension.
Okay, do we have a second for a 3-year extension?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty, thank you so much, Mr. Clark. Okay, so now we have a request for certificate of compliance for 33 Farmside Drive, SE 56-0731. And that one's an oldie too.
We have a letter from the engineer that all work has been done.
That's, what is it, 20-year-old job?
A 20-year-old job, but it was a contentious job.
Ah,
It's a tough spot, that whole area.
okay, so they're trying to sell the property, the homeowner is trying to sell, and the builder's responsible. But,
This was tough to track down as far as the paperwork. I did find it in the building file. I did not see any letter that said that the work was completed. It was 20 years ago.
Was there ever a request for an extension or anything?
No.
Was there a replication area on this job?
Yeah, it was indicated in the special conditions, yes. And I think that work was done. I don't know. It's 20 years old. I don't have a lot of paperwork on it outside of what I found in the special conditions and the NOI.
No record of compliance.
Has anyone?
My knowledge of the area was the driveway went through a wetland area and there was supposed to be some replication done. The whole area had problems, but
Yeah.
it's, what's there is there, and it's been there for a period of time. If you feel that, you know, being there a long time is the same as having it done, and the property owner was not the real responsible person, then you should, I guess we can bite our lips and approve it.
Is this the
Is
original
there any-
property owner who's selling the property? Like, what's
No,
the?
no, it was a builder who built the place.
Yeah,
And then the house, yeah, I would think, and I don't know that for a fact, it could be the original owner that's living there.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
wondering.
now, I don't know that, but I mean, it was a builder
Yeah.
to the property owners, and it was, yeah, we sold them the lot, but we're building a house.
They would have
It was a
had-
very
I have a question.
not smooth area.
Is it?
If
was it-
we accept this, the next homeowner doesn't know that this is in the order of conditions and basically in perpetuity. So they should be notified somehow. How would we handle that?
When we get
That
them.
they would be, there, it has to be maintained even though we don't know if it was done, so is it?
Well, here's the
We
difficulty.
don't know where it is, so we
Yeah.
can't tell them to
Yeah,
maintain
right.
something they don't know
Because nature
where it
probably
is.
There's never been a
And
plan.
it's-
But
it's
there's-
our, I believe it's it was our problem for not
There's an order of
Having it
conditions
closer.
for that property.
view closer, looking at what was going on at the time and letting it get to the point where they must have got a permit to live in the house.
Yeah,
all
there are so
that,
many
so-
mechanisms.
Yeah.
All those things
Now-
got by us. I think rather than stir up a hornet's that we don't need, I move that we issue the order of conditions.
I'll second
Or
it.
issue this as a compliance.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think I need to abstain from this.
Well, if it's-
We
But
got-
we have a,
we got four.
you got me, so it's
But,
okay.
Bob, your general knowledge, is this a problem property or is it not a problem property? Do you think, see this as a problem down the road, pizza property, or it's just
No,
gonna,
I
everything's
mean,
good?
it hasn't shown up. I don't believe that if you went up there, you could find out where the replication was after 20 years.
Right,
If it
that's
was done. And
Exactly.
whether it was done or not, whatever is there, it's been there for that length of time.
So do we
And we don't
designate,
have the time, expertise, or anything else to
To go
meddle with
designate
things
what
like
is
that.
there.
So it's easier just to approve it. When the paperwork goes through, it basically wipes it off the deed, that everything was done fine, so there's no liability for the current buyer.
Now,
One
just
more
if
item,
you, I would just point out that I
We
know
already voted on this.
Bob feels about wetland
We already
maps,
voted on
but there's significant
Meeting minutes.
wetland
No,
there.
this-
Yeah.
So
this should be
anything that they would want to do there, they're gonna have to come before the commission because of its proximity to the
Yeah,
wetland.
they
So
are.
you've got
Okay,
that
so-
protection.
We've
I
already
got you.
approved it.
Oh, yes, that's all. Anything that isn't got a house
All
or
right, so
grass
you have
on
a-
it is wetland up in that area.
But
That's right.
the only thing that I would be concerned about is encroachment of the driveway
That's not our,
in that situation, because we have no
Well,
handle on that whatsoever on our end. And that's like somebody wants a basketball court, what, there are a couple ferns over there, no big deal, like that's what
yeah,
I'm
well,
apprehensive about.
if they pull a building permit,
Or a tennis court,
but if they pull a building permit, it will have to go through the approvals of conservation. So that would be
Okay.
noted once it goes through. I look up the wetland maps and we send an email.
do we have the original file, like the original delineation for this
I
entire
don't have-
development?
I don't have a lot, no.
Oh, okey dokey.
I think what he's saying though is probably the better way to handle it. anything they do want to do in the future, they are going to have to come before us. I think that's our safety valve here. I think that is our safety valve.
Like, we're giving you this, but you
You know.
need to,
Well, they're going to have to, yes.
understanding
the
has to
first
be
dimension
established,
first.
yeah.
I mean, it's clearly wetland. You can see it
Okay,
on
so
the
you
plan.
had a motion
We already took care of it, so
made
there
and
was,
seconded, and you had a majority of the
Yep.
commission vote yes.
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
correct. So Mr.
Exactly.
Clark initiated the vote, Mr. Egerton seconded it, correct? And then oh my God, I'm saying, Mr. Madden. You're not on the Norwell Conservation Commission too, are you?
No.
Mr.
No,
Fellini
that's
followed.
different character.
So you've
Sorry.
got minutes left and adjournment.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to accept the minutes of the meeting September 5th, 2024, assuming everybody read it
As written.
and doesn't have a problem with it.
I think you did a beautiful job summarizing that one.
7 pages.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Before we close the meeting, I do want to say one thing. Andy, I don't want to bring my own stapler to the next meeting.
I could do that for you, yes, absolutely. I go back and forth on whether to staple the stuff for you
Or paperclip.
or have it free.
Yeah, as long as it's in order and paper clipped it by Caterpillar, that would be
We've got plenty of staples.
I'll
Motion to close.
Second, do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank God.
I was waiting.